Hey everyone, my name's Zango, and in this video we are playing a Pokemon Y Hardcore Nuzlocke with only Ghost-type Pokemon. I'm going to be putting the rules I use for this run in the description of this video, but with that being said, let's talk about Ghost types. In Pokemon Y, I have a selection of 10 Ghost-type Pokemon that I can use in this run. These 10 Pokemon are actually really good, and I can pretty much use all of them in any situation. The big issue I'm going to encounter in this run is definitely Dark types. There is only one Pokemon I can get that isn't super weak to Dark types, and it happens to be my worst Pokemon in this run. Thankfully, there is no Dark type gyms in this game, but there are a lot of trainers, including Team Flare, with a lot of Dark type Pokemon. With that all being said, I start my journey as Zango and make my way to get my first Pokemon of this run. I didn't really want to wait until after the first gym to get my first Pokemon, so I decided to use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to make Finnegan into a Honedge. Honedge evolves into Aegislash, and Aegislash is one of the best Pokemon I will have access to in this run. I name my Honedge Stainless and go to deliver a message to my mom. I get through that relatively quickly, learn how to catch a Pokemon, and then make my way into the first gym of this run. This gym really shouldn't be that difficult at all, seeing as Honedge is 4 times resistant to bug-type moves, so I go into this battle a little bit underleveled. Viola leads the battle with Surskit as I lead with Stainless. Starting at level 1, Honedge knows Sword Stance, so that's what I go for on the first turn as Surskit goes for a Water Sport. Surskit's faster than me, so she goes for a Bubble as I go for another Sword Stance. Surskit then goes for one final Bubble as I'm able to one-shot with a Tackle as she brings in her next Pokemon, Vivillon. Vivillon's already a pretty tanky Pokemon, and on the first turn she decides to go for a Harden as I go for a Tackle, not really doing too much damage. She hits me with an Infestation next as it does pretty much no damage at all as I go for a Tackle, getting a crit, bringing Vivillon to 1 HP. She heals with a Potion on the next turn as I go for another Tackle, bringing Vivillon into the red once more. At this point, I'm extremely low, but thankfully Vivillon can't hit me with anything else other than Infestation, so she does 1 damage to me as I'm able to take her out with another Tackle, winning me my first gym badge of this run. After I finish up that gym battle, I make my way to go get my XP share, and I do an unhealthy amount of super training. Once I get that all finished up, I then make my way into Lumio City where I meet the professor for the first time. I beat him pretty quickly in a battle as I make my way into the Lumio's Cafe, do a little bit of story there, and make my way into the next route. Here, I find out Corinna can't keep her dogs under control, and after I find that out, I make my way to battle my rival. I beat him down with little to no trouble as I make my way into the next town of the game. From here, I do some more story and make my way to the Pokemon Mansion. I pay a rather ridiculous fee to get inside, but once I do, me and Shauna watch some really cool fireworks and I make my way to go wake up a Snorlax. I don't think he could hit me because I'm a ghost type, so this was a really unfair battle, but when I defeat him, I make my way onto the next route. On this route, me and Serena face off Tierno and Trevor, and once we beat them, I make my way to go catch my next Pokemon. This Pokemon's on Route 8, and it ends up being a Drifloon. Drifloon really isn't amazing in the grand scheme of things, but I really can't complain right now seeing as we only have 2 Pokemon on my team. I name Drifloon Ozone and I make my way to the next city. Before making it to the next city, I gotta go through Anet Town and deal with Team Flare. They're not really hard at this stage seeing as their dark types aren't that powerful, but they're gonna get a lot harder in the future and I've gotta be careful with that. Regardless, once I finish up with that town and Team Flare, I end up making it to the next city of the run. Once in the city, I'm actually able to catch another Pokemon, so I move on to the next route and catch a Golett. Golett should actually be pretty useful. He has good access to ground type moves, which makes him really good against electric types, and I can actually use him a lot just in general. I decide to name Golett Biscuit, and I make my way to go challenge the second gym of this run. Grant leads the battle with Armora as I lead with Stainless. Amora's faster than me and goes for an Aurora Beam on the first turn as I go for a Sword Stance. Amora then hits me with a Thunder Wave as I'm able to get off a Shadow Claw, bringing him into the red. Grant then heals in the next turn as I set up with another Sword Stance and he hits me for minimal damage on the next as I'm able to finish him off with a single Shadow Claw, bringing in his next Pokemon, Tyrunt. Tyrunt goes for a Bite, bringing me to 1 HP exactly as I'm able to finish him off with a single Shadow Claw, winning me my second gym badge of this run. After that gym battle, I start to deal with Team Flare again, and I make my way into the next town. Once in Geosenge Town, I deal with Team Flare a little bit more, and I battle Corinna for the first time. Her Lucarios can't even hit Stainless, so after I finish up with them, I make my way into Reflection Cave. In Reflection Cave, there's a 5% encounter rate for Sableye, so I look for him forever, and I don't even end up finding one, so I decide to just move on to the next city without one. I forgot to mention this earlier in the video, but this same situation happens with Nincada on Route 6 where I just couldn't be bothered to find one. After I do end up making my way through Reflection Cave though, I make my way into Chandeleur City. In Chandeleur City, I end up fighting my rival Serena. She leads the battle with Meowstic as I lead with Ozone. First things first, I know Meowstic can't really do that much damage to me, so I decide to set up 3 consecutive stockpiles. After Meowstic hits me for pitiful damage 3 times in a row, I then go for a payback, bringing Meowstic to about a third. I then get hit one more time for almost nothing as I'm able to finish off Meowstic as she brings in her next Pokemon, Absol. Absol would normally be able to kill me with a single bite here, but since I activated all those stockpiles, I'm able to not get one-shotted, activating my Citrus Berry, and I hit with a Gust, doing about a third. Since I'm faster than Absol, I'm able to take him out with 2 more Gusts as he brings me down to 40 HP as she brings in her next Pokemon, Frogadier. Normally Frogadier would be faster than me, but since I have the ability Unburden, I'm able to outspeed and go for a Gust. Frogadier then gets off a Water Pulse, only doing about 13 HP as I get off another Gust, bring Frogadier to about a third. Frogadier then hits me with another Water Pulse, this time confusing me in the process. At this point, it's still pretty early in the run, so I decide to risk it, and I go for another Gust, not getting hit by my confusion, finishing off the Frogadier and winning me my rival battle. Once that's all finished up, I decide to go fight the 3rd gym leader. Korrina leads the battle with Menfu as I lead with Stainless. Menfu can't actually hit me with her current moveset, so I decide to set up 3 consecutive sword stances, and I end up one-shotting Menfu with a single Aerial Ace. She sends out her Machoke next, and he goes through a very similar fate, only hitting me with a Leer as I'm able to one-shot with another Aerial Ace. She then sends out her final Pokemon, Hawlucha, who goes through the exact same thing as everybody else, getting one-shotted by an Aerial Ace and winning me my 3rd gym badge of this run. After that gym badge, I battle Korrina again on top of her tower. Thankfully, this is the last time we have to battle, as after I beat her, she finally realizes that she's not a better Pokemon trainer than me. She then tries to send me away with her trashy Lucario, but I don't accept, and I decide to make my way onto the next routes of the game. After I finish that up, Serena tells me we're gonna battle at the gym, so I make my way to the train station. From here, I do a little bit of story and make my way further into Coumarine City. The only thing to do here is to challenge the gym and challenge Serena, so that's exactly what I do. Serena's first, and the battle we have is exactly the same as the last time we battled, so I'm not even going to go over it. Once I get over that battle, I make my way into the gym, manage not to get over the level cap, and fight my 4th gym of this run. Ramos leads the battle with Jumpluff as I lead with Ozone. Jumpluff hits me for a good amount of damage with an Acrobatics as I go for a Fly, one-shotting him on the next turn. Weepinbell is next as I decide to go for a Gust rather than a Fly, and it brings him to 1 HP as he misses a Poison Powder. Ramos then heals on the next turn as I'm able to get off 1 Gust, finishing off the Weepinbell as he brings out his final Pokemon, Go-Go. Go-Go can barely do any damage to me, so I'm able to get off 3 Gusts, winning me my 4th gym badge of this run. After that gym badge, I head down to Route 13 and end up finding the Team Flare Power Plant Pass. Since I know that Team Flare's got a lot of dark types, I decide to finally make my way back to Reflection Cave and catch myself a Sableye. It takes me forever to find one, but once I do, I name it Styx and make my way onto Route 6. At this point, after catching Sableye, there's really no point on me waiting out on Nincada any longer, so I decide to catch one and make my way back to Route 13. Once I get all that over with, I make my way to battle Team Flare, and with my new team member Styx, I'm able to sweep them almost entirely. While I'm trying to go through Route 13, I find this poor man who clearly hasn't stopped going through puberty, and I make my way into Lumio City. Once here, I head to Prism Tower where I finally get to battle my 5th gym of this run. Clement leads the battle with Emolga as I lead with Biscuit. Since Biscuit's a ground type, Emolga can't go for a Volt Switch, so he's forced to go for an Aerial Ace. This gives me an easy kill as I'm able to get off 2 Rock Tombs as he brings in his next Pokemon, Heliolisk. Heliolisk is actually a really good Pokemon, but he does have one fatal downside in this battle. He can't even hit Shedinja, so I decide to send in Shedinja and I'm able to finish off the Heliolisk with no trouble at all. It does take me a minute, but he finally sends out his final Pokemon, Magneton. Luckily for me, Magneton doesn't have any moves that can kill me either, so I'm able to finish off Magneton with a combination of a ton of different moves, and that wins me my 5th gym badge of this run. After the Lumio City gym, I make my way onto Route 14 and I have another rival battle with Serena. This rival battle is different than before, but I actually end up sweeping her because my team is so much better than it was in the past. Once I'm finished up with that rival battle, I then make my way further onto the route where I'm actually able to catch my next Pokemon, Haunter. For this run, I'm actually able to evolve my Haunter into a Gengar. The only reason that I'm allowing this in this run is because I did a community post a while back where I asked my viewers if trait evolutions are allowed in these types of Nuzlocks. Out of 1,300 people, 92% of them said that trait evolutions were allowed. This is going to be huge for my team, seeing as Gengar is an amazing Pokemon that I can totally use a ton in this run. With that being said, I catch the Haunter and name it Casper, and I make my way to the Scary House. There's really nothing scary about this place other than the fact that they actually request for tips. With that being said, I got a tip for you guys. Only 4.8% of my viewers are actually subscribed, so if you could subscribe, that would help me out a ton. Thank you guys, and let's get back to business. I decide to leave no tip at the Scary House, and I make my way into the next city of the run. In this city, there's nothing really to do here, so I decide to start my grind to get ready for the 6th gym of this run. During my grind, Haunter actually evolves into a Gengar. This is really the only eventful thing that happens while I'm grinding, and after I finish all that up, I make my way to challenge the 6th gym of this run so far. Valerie leads the battle with her Mawile as I lead with Sticks. I go for a fake out on the first turn as she can't hit me because she flinches, but on the next I decide to go for a power up punch, raising my attack stat as she goes for an iron defense. She then hits me for a crunch as I go for another power up punch and I raise my attack again. At this point, she decides to go for another iron defense as I go for another power up punch. She hits me with a crunch, getting a crit off as I do another power up punch, not doing much once again. At this point, I make a kinda risky move staying in, but I actually don't end up getting crit, so I live on 8 HP as I get off one more power up punch, and at this point I really need to switch. I decide to switch into Casper, who gets hit for massive damage on the switch in, but doesn't end up dying, so on the next turn I'm able to get off a Thunderbolt, finishing off the Mawile as she brings in her next Pokemon, Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime, being a pretty slow and weak Pokemon, goes down to a single Shadow Ball as she brings out her final Pokemon, Sylveon. I'm able to hit with a Thunderbolt, doing about a fourth as Sylveon hits me with a Dazzling Gleam, bringing me to 31 HP. At this point, I'm pretty scared of a crit, so I decide to move into Stainless just to be safe. I then hit Sylveon for a decent amount with a Shadow Claw as she hits me for a Dazzling Gleam, not doing much damage. She then decides to heal in the next turn as I go for another Shadow Claw, doing a ton of damage as Sylveon hits me with her ability Q-Charm. I then end up getting immobilized by Love in the next turn as Sylveon goes for a Charm, lowering my attack. I then get through the immobilization, but I don't end up doing a lot of damage at all as I get hit for a ton of damage with a Dazzling Gleam. I'm then forced to switch again. This time I decide to move into Biscuit as she heals with a Hyper Potion. I don't really do any damage with the Rock Tombs I throw at her, so I decide to switch again, this time into Ozone. Immediately after I do that, I realize Shedinja can't get hit by any of Sylveon's moves, so I decide to switch into him, finishing off the battle with a couple of Shadow Claws, winning me my 6th gym badge of this run. After that gym battle, I then make my way to the Pokeball Factory where I deal with Team Flare. Like I said before, they're really not that much of an issue due to Sticks and the fact that my team members are so much better than they were before. Once I finish up all those Team Flare shenanigans, I then make my way onto the next routes of the game. On these next two routes, I can actually catch two pretty solid Ghost-type Pokemon. I make my way into the Lost Hotel and I find myself a Litwick. Litwick evolves into Chandeleur, who is insane for this run. Chandeleur has an amazing move pool and a super strong special attack stat that I can totally abuse in the Elite Four and just regular battles in this run. Since I don't have a Pokemon with strength on me at the moment, I can't get to Route 16, so I decide to just make it to the next town of the run. From here, I decide to go into Frost Cavern, do a little bit of story, and I make my way to the next route. On this route, Serena tells me she wants to battle, so I make my way into Anastar City and start my battle with my rival, Serena. This is another one of those battles that isn't even close, so I'm not even going to go over it. My team completely destroys hers with a combination of Chandeleur and Gengar, so after I finish that up, I make my way into the Anastar City gym. I managed to get through all the gym trainers without going over the level cap and challenge the 7th gym of this run. Olympia leads the battle with Sigilyph as I lead with Casper. I hit Sigilyph really hard with a Thunderbolt, almost one-shotting as she goes for a Light Screen. She heals in the next turn as I hit Sigilyph with a Shadow Ball, bringing her a little bit below half. I'm then able to finish her off with another Shadow Ball as she brings out her next Pokemon, Slowking. Slowking gets hit by a Shadow Ball pretty hard, bringing her a little bit above half as she sets up a Yawn. Since she set up a Yawn, I decide to switch into Stainless and I end up getting hit with another Yawn. At this point, I switch into Sticks so as not to get hit by a Psychic and go for a Shadow Sneak. Slowking doesn't end up dying as she sets up a Calm Mind, and on the next turn she heals as I go for another Shadow Sneak. This Shadow Sneak doesn't do much damage, so I decide to switch into Casper. Casper gets hit by a Yawn, so I decide to switch back into Sticks, who doesn't get hit by a Psychic. At this point, I do the same thing again, but rather than switching back into Sticks, I decide to switch into Stainless. Stainless gets hit by a Psychic, not doing much damage at all, as I'm able to one-shot with a Shadow Claw as she brings out her final Pokemon, Meowstic. Meowstic hits me with a Shadow Ball, doing a ton of damage, almost one-shotting Stainless as I'm able to get off a single Shadow Claw, getting me my 7th gym badge of this run. After that gym badge, I head back to Route 15 where I finally have a Pokemon with Strength, so I push down that boulder and I make my way to catch my next Pokemon on Route 16. This Pokemon ends up being a Pumpkaboo, which really isn't that great, especially due to its nature, which is pretty bad. There really is better Pokemon I can have on my team, so I really won't be using Pumpkaboo much in this run. After I get that Pokemon, I make my way to one of the Lumio City cafes where I'm actually able to battle Team Flare. I get through the first 2 grunts really easily and I make my way to the first Lysander fight. To be honest with you, Lysander is a complete joke right now as I'm able to one-shot pretty much all of his Pokemon with just Casper alone. While I'm trying to go get my elevator key, I actually get in one really intense battle. This battle was with the last trainer I need to face off against before I get the elevator key, and when I'm facing off, I actually almost lose all of my Pokemon. She's got a Weavile on her team, and Weavile is one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, and I cannot speed it with any of my Pokemon. This is actually pretty bad for me, seeing as Weavile is a pretty strong Pokemon and I can't really deal with it very well with any Pokemon on my team. This was really bad game management on my part, and the only reason I really won this battle was because I sent in Chandeleur and I got really lucky and Flame Body activated, burning the Weavile. Regardless, after that battle, I'm able to get my elevator key and I make my way further into Lysander's labs. After going through a ton of story on the 2nd floor, we head to the 3rd floor and I do end up pressing the wrong button. Thankfully, this button doesn't fully end the world, so I decide to make my way to Geosenge Town and deal with the rest of Team Flare. Once I make it to Team Flare's secret base in Geosenge Town, I'm able to deal with Lysander again in the same fashion as before, pretty much one-shotting every single one of his Pokemon with Gengar. Once I'm finished up with Lysander, I go to catch my legendary Pokemon, throw him in the box, and I battle Lysander for the final time in this game. Lysander leads the battle with Menxiao as I lead with Casper. The battle starts out similar to the last 2 as I'm able to one-shot Menxiao with a single Dazzling Gleam as he brings out his next Pokemon, Pyroar. For Pyroar, I decide to switch into Biscuit, who gets hit extremely hard with a Fire Blast on the switch in, and I go for an Earthquake on the next turn as Fire Blast does a lot more damage again, bringing me into the red as I'm able to finish him off with a single Earthquake as he brings out his next Pokemon, Honchkrow. Since I'm not really willing to lose Biscuit, I decide to switch into Ozone. Ozone then gets hit with a critical hit, super effective Night Slash, one-shotting her in the process. This was super unfortunate to see so late into the game, but it was much needed as now I'm able to get a free switch into Casper and I'm able to one-shot the Honchkrow with a single Thunderbolt, bringing in his final Pokemon, Gyarados. Lysander decides to Mega Evolve as I go for a Thunderbolt. This only does about half of Gyarados' HP as he hits me with an Aqua Tail, bringing me to 15 HP, so I'm able to get off a single Thunderbolt on the next turn, winning me my final battle against Team Flare. Now that Team Flare's all finished up, I'm able to head past Anastar City into the final routes of the game. I head through Route 18 and make my way to Corway City where I'm able to battle the Professor. This battle goes swimmingly as I'm able to finish off all of his Pokemon pretty quickly and I make my way onto the next route. On this route, I have to battle my rivals 3 times consecutively and those rival battles start with Shauna. Shauna leads the battle with Delcatty as I lead with Casper. Casper is way faster, so I'm able to get off 2 Thunderbolts as she brings in her next Pokemon, Goodra. Goodra can't hit Shedinja, so I send him in as I'm able to finish Goodra off with a couple of Phantom Forces as she sends in her final Pokemon, Chestnut. Shedinja can get hit by a Spiky Shield, so I decide to switch out into Stainless, who's able to one-shot with a single Aerial Ace, winning me my battle against Shauna. Tierno's next as he leads the battle with Talonflame as I lead with Casper. Casper is way faster than Talonflame at this level, so I'm able to one-shot with a single Thunderbolt as he brings out his next Pokemon, Crawdon. He experiences the exact same fate as he gets one-shotted by a Thunderbolt, leading to his final Pokemon, Roserade. Roserade can't really do any damage to Casper, so I get off 2 Shadow Balls, winning me my battle against Tierno. Last up is Trevor, and since I got my Pokemon healed, this is really no issue, and after I finish up with him, I make my way into Snowbell City. Once I make it into Snowbell City, I head to the Pokemon Village to find the gym leader, and once I do, I get ready to challenge him for my final gym badge of this run. Before I challenge him, I actually do a few things, the first of which being catching a Pokemon. The Pokemon I catch is a Trevenant, and she should be huge for the remainder of this run. She could help out a lot in the Elite Four of this run, especially with the water types, but after I catch her, I name her Phantom, and once I do that, I make my way back down to the beach. The reason that I'm on this beach is because I need heart scales badly. My team's moveset is looking pretty bleak, so I'm gonna need a ton of heart scales to fix that up. Once I get enough heart scales, I fix my team up at the move relearner, and once I do that, I challenge the 8th gym of this run. Wolfrith leads the battle with Abomasnow as I lead with Stainless. Stainless is able to one-shot with a single Iron Head as he brings out his next Pokemon, Avalugg. I go for a King Shield expecting him to attack, but he doesn't, going for a Curse setting up. Thankfully, he again decides not to attack as I switch into Chandeleur, and I'm able to one-shot with a single Flamethrower as he brings out his final Pokemon, Cryogonal. Cryogonal hits me with a Confuse Ray on the first turn, but thankfully I don't get hit by it, and I actually bring him to 1 HP. He heals with the Hyper Potion as I get through another Confusion, this time finishing the job with another Flamethrower, winning me my 8th and final gym badge of this run. After that gym battle, I then make my way into Victory Road. While in Victory Road, I have my final rival battle of the game with Serena. She leads the battle with Meowstic as I lead with Casper. Meowstic then goes down to a single Shadow Ball as she brings in her next Pokemon, Greninja. Greninja's faster, and I didn't expect that as he hits me for massive damage with a single Dark Pulse, almost killing Casper, bringing me to 10 HP as I'm able to one-shot with a Thunderbolt as she brings out her next Pokemon, Absol. Absol is a pretty easy Pokemon to take down as I'm able to finish him off with a single Dazzling Gleam as she sends in her next Pokemon, Flareon. For Flareon, I decide to switch into Biscuit and I get hit by a lot of damage on the switch in. On the next turn, I decide to go for an Earthquake, but I do get flinched by a Bite, so that does even more damage. I get hit by one final Bite, bringing me to 37 HP as I'm able to finish the Flareon off with a single Earthquake as she brings in her final Pokemon, Altaria. Since I'm already pretty low, I decide to switch out into Twilight. I don't get hit for much damage on the switch in, and on the next turn I go for a Shadow Ball, doing about half as she goes for a Confide. With my special attack lowered, I'm not able to one-shot in the next turn, bringing Altaria into the red as she goes for another Confide. Thankfully, this is the final time she does that, as I'm able to finish her off in the next turn with another Shadow Ball, winning me my final rival battle of this game. With that all finished up, I then make my way into the Pokemon League. Before I start this Elite Four battle, I just want to say this run really hasn't been that difficult. When looking back at this run, the only hard moments happened really early into the game, so I didn't really have that much trouble progressing. With that being said, I've decided I'm going to change the rules a bit for the final battles of this run. I've decided that for the final 5 battles of this run, I will not be able to use held items during battle. This will make my Elite Four battle way harder than it usually is, seeing as I usually use a lot of held items during these Elite Four battles. With that out of the way, I make my way into the Pokemon League and I start my Elite Four journey with Wickstrom. Wickstrom leads the battle with Klefki as I lead with Biscuit. Klefki hits me with a Flash Cannon, not doing too much as I'm able to one-shot with a single Earthquake as he brings out his next Pokemon, Scizor. Scizor hits me really hard with a Night Slash as I go for an Earthquake, bringing him down to about a third. At this point, Biscuit's too low to take another hit, so I decide to switch into Stainless. Stainless tanks and Night Slash really well, as on the next turn I'm able to get off a single Sacred Sword, finishing off the Scizor as he brings out his next Pokemon, Probopass. Knowing Probopass is probably going to use Earth Power, I decide to switch into Casper and I avoid it due to my ability Levitate. I go for a Shadow Ball in the next turn, doing a little bit above half as he goes for a Power Gem, not doing that much. I then decide to go for a Dark Pulse, knowing that it's not going to do as much damage as Probopass goes for a Flash Cannon. At this point, knowing I could kill with a Shadow Ball, I decide to switch into Twilight. The reason that I did this is because I thought that Probopass was out of healing range, but apparently I was wrong as Wickstrom uses a full restore as I switch in. This doesn't really matter as my plan goes the exact same way anyways, as I'm able to finish off Probopass with 2 more Flamethrowers as he brings out his final Pokemon, Aegislash. Because I chose to switch into Twilight, it's an easy one-shot with a Flamethrower as I win my first Elite Four battle. I've decided that for my next Elite Four battle, I'm going to challenge Malva. She leads the battle with Pyroar as I lead with Casper. I go for a Thunderbolt on the first turn, doing about half as she goes for a Flamethrower, not really doing that much. After that, only one more Thunderbolt is needed to take out the Pyroar as she sends in her next Pokemon, Torquel. I'm a bit weary staying in with Casper, but I decide to anyways as I go for a Shadow Ball, almost one-shotting the Torquel as she goes for a Stone Edge, almost killing Casper. She then uses a full restore, but it is way too late for that as I get off 2 more Shadow Balls, finishing off the Torquel as she brings out her next Pokemon, Chandeleur. Since I know Chandeleur is slower than Casper, I go for a Shadow Ball, one-shotting the Chandeleur as she brings out her final Pokemon, Talonflame. Because I know that Talonflame is really strong and really fast, I decide to switch into Biscuit. Talonflame does end up doing some pretty big damage to Biscuit, but I'm able to get off one Rock Slide, finishing off the Talonflame, winning me my second Elite Four battle. For my next Elite Four battle, I decide to fight Seabold. He leads the battle with Clawitzer as I lead with Twilight. Clawitzer is pretty easy to handle as I take it out with a single energy ball as he brings in his next Pokemon, Gyarados. Since I have Twilight in right now, I know I have to switch, so I decide to move into Casper. On the turn I switched in, Gyarados chose to set up with a Dragon Dance. This is pretty bad, seeing as on the next turn I find out Gyarados is faster than me as he hits me for a very powerful Waterfall, almost killing Casper as I'm able to one-shot with a Thunderbolt. This in turn leads into his next Pokemon, Starmie. Starmie is easily taken care of with a single Shadow Ball from Casper as he sends in his final Pokemon, Barbarnacle. For this, I decide to switch into Biscuit, who gets hit for a lot of damage on the switch in, but after that I switch out immediately into Trevenant where I'm able to one-shot with a Horn Leech, winning me my third Elite Four battle. For this final Elite Four battle, I fight Drasna. Drasna leads the battle with Dialga as I lead with Biscuit. Dialga, being a slow poison type, is easily one-shotted by a single Earthquake from Biscuit. With Dialga down, she sends in her next Pokemon, Altaria. Altaria goes for a Sing that misses as I go for a Rock Slide that does over half. Sadly for me, on the next turn I actually fall asleep due to Altaria's Sing hitting. I stay asleep on the first turn as on the next, Altaria hits me with a Dragon Pulse, not really doing too much damage. Thankfully, after that first turn of sleep, I don't have to deal with it anymore as I get through the sleep on the next turn and I go for a Rock Slide, finishing off the Altaria. She then decides to send in her next Pokemon, Noivern. At this point, I don't really have a reason to switch yet, so I decide to stay in with Biscuit as I get hit for a Dragon Pulse, bringing me to 109. On the same turn, I'm then able to get off a Rock Slide, doing over half to Noivern, as on the next, I get hit with a Dragon Pulse, bringing me down really low, but thankfully, it doesn't kill me, as I get off another Rock Slide, finishing off the Noivern. She then sends in her final Pokemon, Dreddagon. I decide to switch into Shedinja since I can't really get hit by any of Dreddagon's moves, and set up a ton of Confuse Rays. Funnily enough, I actually can't hit Dreddagon due to her ability Rough Skin. Thankfully, there's an easy solution to this problem, and that's switching into Casper and going for a single Dazzling Gleam, winning me my final Elite Four battle. With the rest of the game behind us, I head into the Radiant Chamber to challenge Champion Diantha for the final battle of this run. Diantha leads the battle with Hawlucha as I lead with Stainless. Hawlucha can't hurt Stainless at all as the only move she knows that does damage is 4 times not very effective. This leads to me easily setting up 3 consecutive Autotomizes. While trying to set up Swords Dance, I make what could have been the biggest mistake of this run. I mean, even with that, I didn't mean to do that. Don't one-shot. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I pressed the wrong button. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. I saw everything flash. I meant to go for a Swords Dance, and that would have murdered me. That was definitely way too close for comfort and could have definitely been my biggest mistake of this run. Thankfully, it's not, as after that happens, I set up 3 consecutive Sword Stances and one-shot the Hawlucha. She then sends in Goodra next, who gets one-shotted by an Iron Head, as then she sends in Tyrantrum, who experiences the exact same. Next up is her Gourgeist, who gets one-shotted by an Iron Head, as she sends in her next Pokemon, Aurorus. Aurorus, like all other previous Pokemon, gets one-shotted by an Iron Head as she sends in her final Pokemon, Gardevoir. At this point, I outspeed Gardevoir by a ton, so it's not even close, and I go for an Iron Head, finishing off Gardevoir and winning me my final battle of this run. That's it. That's it. I lost 1 Pokemon in this run. Damn, Drifloom. Damn, I didn't think I was gonna lose you. With that being said, that's the end of my run. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video because I really enjoyed making it, and without further ado, that was my attempt at a Pokemon Y hardcore Nuzlocke with ghost types only.